And that was helpful.
Yeah, this is so very gosh darn it. I mean, it's an important job for our seniors. And this also came from Manhattan. I wasn't going to share it with everybody, but I will.
Well, I got stuff. I have that. You got it. Thank you for doing that, Bob, and give us time to digest it.
Rosie.
I know that. I've seen that.
I'm sure you have one. So,
Okay.
What it tells us, read this thoroughly, give it time. But I really, do I want to make a motion that we pay her or not? See, that's the question, because she's doing the job now.
Is she working any more hours than what her?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know that. I don't know if she does.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she does.
Mona, where you been?
Pardon me?
Don't you know our meeting starts at 9 o'clock?
I sorted it, but I didn't know where it was.
Oh.
I knew
We
that.
forgive you for
I
that.
knew that the room in front was being occupied, so I.
So anyway, should we just give some time to review this?
Okay.
What
She used to talk to Mrs. Kringle about the finances. And then, because that would be the end of the year and you have to have taxes and this and that. So, I moved that we, here again, any added wages for her be held off till December till we get other.
information?
Gee, that's fine. That's fine.
Did you get that, Charlene? I moved that we not pay Becky until after the discussion of finances with Mrs. Kringle. I can't think of her first name.
Jean.
Oh, it's Jean.
It's Jean.
Rose is her mother.
Rose is her mother, yes.
I knew Rose wasn't right.
Rose is
So
her
I
Jean.
told her Mrs. Kringle.
Well, your mother wasn't a Kringle.
Yeah, that's true.
Her name is Jean Kringle.
Okay. All right.
Mrs. Kringle worked.
Okay. Is that okay? Do I see hands for everybody in favor of that? Okay. Great. All right. So, Charlene?
Judy.
I do.
I think she could keep track of the extra time she puts
Yes.
in.
I
And
will
if
make that
nothing
request
else,
to her
we could
so
do
we
a-
know how
A
much time.
token of thanks at the end of the year,
Right.
even if they hire someone else.
I will speak to her about that and ask her to.
She's had a lot of phone calls
But,
about Medicare.
yeah,
wanted
she's
to get
done
rid
a
of all
lot
that.
during her shift
Oh.
right now.
She's done some time.
So she's
How much
doing
time? I don't
two
know.
jobs. So she should be credited for the effort and stuff that she's doing.
Well, from the time
for
that Teresa,
yeah.
from the time
Since
that
Teresa left.
resigned,
I mean, she should be getting something.
well,
I
anyway,
mean, whoever would be doing this should be,
all right.
well, not all of it.
Let's go back to that.
If she didn't do
Okay.
this, nobody
All right.
would have done it. She didn't have any help.
Okay, now the next thing we need to do before we have too much more expense is decide about what we're going to do with the Court Street office. Whether we're just going to go ahead and move all that stuff over here. There isn't that
I
much.
move that we close that office. We give notice to Roger Hayworth, and by January 1st, everything is moved, and we were told we could have this room, but I don't remember of a price being. But,
That's a pretty expensive storage space.
Yeah,
The motion's been made to move from that office to this back to here. I'll
Yes.
second that motion.
okay. It's been moved and seconded that we move the remaining,
January 1st.
desk and et cetera, whatever is there back over here until we make a decision about coordinating. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, now, just have to arrange the manpower.
So when do you think you'd be moving in here?
my suggestion is that I've got a truck. I'm willing to give. I've got a dolly. like between Christmas and New Year's. That week. I don't.
Weather
Well,
permitting.
the only reason I asked, Becky wants to come in and paint the walls and hang up some
Now-
pictures and stuff before you come back in.
Okay.
This wall has to, and then she would talk something about the phone system, and we don't know if there was a contract over there.
Well, I haven't gotten any bill from them, if there was.
Is this on? Excuse me. And then I can't remember what she says this room would cost. And we cannot,
Yeah, their
they
food,
store
their
their
food in
food.
here.
We can't block that.
But this whole job is supposed to be working together.
That's right.
Not, this is mine and you stay, and that's what's gotten us into this horrible mess. Let me, excuse me while
Who
I
does
ask.
the movie?
But Mr.
I don't
Who
know.
would do the
We're gonna
moving?
have to.
Everybody.
We're gonna have
Anybody
to
who
get some
can help.
manpower, volunteer
Yeah, you're talking
manpower.
about another
I mean,
month's
But
rent
they should
for
write
December.
Hayworth a letter of resignation.
And if you could get
You should
Well,
give him a
somebody
letter
to
in
move.
writing that you're moving.
yeah.
Okay, yes, I can take care of that.
By
That's-
January 1st, so he knows that you're gonna be out by then.
Right.
It's only kosher.
Uh-huh.
Our last name is Lou was going to put it for the coordinator.
Take care of that.
Well, I just need
Okay.
space. Needs to be
Liz Winkler is off.
besides here.
Oh, absolutely.
Area
Well,
coordinator.
that's
Did
what they
she
need to
send
do,
a
go
letter?
back and forth. Absolutely.
Located
Well, that-
on
that's-
my-
No,
Signed
time.
my letter? I don't know, I just haven't been here.
No, that'll be in our job
Job
description.
description? Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
don't need a space here necessarily for that.
Yeah, we talked about that already.
Liz
Okay.
written a letter saying she was,
Well, no, her term was up. Liz Winkler?
yeah.
Yeah, her term is up, just like mine, and I'm not.
She missed,
No,
she
Liz
missed.
is
And she missed several meetings, and she missed a number of
We
meetings.
still need a
Well,
resignation.
that was
just like you
deliberate,
need from
remember?
everybody. Well, I think so.
Have you ever thought about, like, I'm going to use Sylvan for an example. They have a potluck dinner, and then they have their meeting following in the evening. But since we have our meetings in the morning, why not from like 8 to 9, have coffee, donuts, invite some, get more people comes,
More seniors come in.
you
They
know,
have about-
have
they have about
some
18,
they can
20
eat,
here every day.
and visit for
We
an
have
hour.
coffee with donuts and whatever.
We've been going for the last 4 months. Bob and I and Jean, to these meetings and coffee once a week. And it is very, very pleasant having the potluck.
Show up when I was the director.
Uh,
I started that program.
Most of the time, the whole thing's filled. Last time the weather was cold, so I think 26 to 30 the last time. But once you get people more involved and they feel they're involved, I mean, the first meeting Bob and I went to, we went to the potluck. We did not know they had the meetings afterwards. I felt like, well, what do we do? Because there was so much conflict between Lincoln and Sylvan. We were going to get up and leave. They asked us not to. They said, this is for the community to know. And they included us in that meeting. So I just think it's something that we need to think about. Let's get over this hatred and,
But that
bygones are
like
bygones.
going on for years.
Yeah.
That's right. But you got a new generation coming in. So, like I told Sylvan, I could hold a grudge against Sylvan. They blackballed their coach, blackballed my grandson from a 3rd generation,
We need to get back on
but
Okay,
we don't.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
like,
We have what did you find out?
Okay. They will charge $100 for this room. It used to be $150 over there. And we have to have a landline of our own and a fax machine. Or fax
There's
number.
a fax machine over there. that building.
Yeah, that goes.
Well, I
with-
don't I
A
don't
fax number.
understand facts, so either a machine or number or some.
Well, you can get a fax machine with a copy machine.
Yeah.
We have that.
We
over
have
there.
I got everything.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you what
You're
they
doing
want.
good.
Okay, and we don't have to worry about hooking those things up until we have a coordinator
That's
hired.
right.
And that could be after
And
January.
then we'll take care of, then we'll take care of that, yeah.
Well, what's the rent that we're paying over here?
Over there, it's $200 plus utilities.
Utilities.
Here,
Oh, okay.
So that's
here
what, that's
would be
what I'm saying.
$100, no utilities other than
Phone line.
The
the
phone.
phone.
And the phone.
That was a crazy move to begin with.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
So,
I agree.
okay, so did we pass the motion to move
yes.
by the
It's
first
already been done.
of the year? Okay, now we'll have to arrange for manpower.
You seconded it, but we didn't have a.
Okay, all in favor of that move, raise your right hand. Okay, all right, so that passed. Okay, now we'll have
We'll make it
to,
happen.
we'll,
We'll get back.
Okay,
We can make it happen.
Bob and I each have a truck, and I say we'll get together later. And
Yeah.
if someone else will no, we are not advertising. We will notify
And I
other
will be-
members if they so desire to help.
Help.
Yeah.
If they don't, that's okay.
and I will go over and talk to
Roger.
Roger.
Yeah, you need to give him a letter and write it now.
Okay, I can do that too.
30 days.
I can do that because I need to.
A lot of the high school kids are needing now.
Excuse me, students have to get community service.
Yeah.
You might consider
That's what she's
contact.
talking about,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
High school boys,
Okay.
yeah, manpower.
Did
But
you
now,
hear
Jen,
that,
don't you
Bob?
think you should be there?
What?
Because of all the stuff that's laying there, so you
Service to help us.
what's big about
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just not the lifting stuff that I
Yeah,
can do.
yeah.
No, we can do
We
that.
need manpower.
And everybody understand, our day of moving will depend on the weather.
Yes.
If it's like
And
Sunday,
Judy, we can do that anytime. Like I'm leaving tomorrow. When I get back, maybe this weekend or something, I can move from the spot cabin so it doesn't make a
January
difference. If that's
1st,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not okay to say. Because
Yeah.
she's
Nobody
paying for
has
it.
access to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a problem.
All right.
Why they moved.
Okay, all right.
New business.
So you will let us know, you guys will let
Yes.
us know when we need to do that. Okay, Judy, did you have anything else that you needed to talk
we've
about?
already, it was about discussing
We've already taken care of that.
the offices and the fact that my name ended up in the paper.
I didn't ask for that either.
That's all right.
Then it was hell because
I know,
my
I-
daughter called. They read it at KDNS out of Glen Elder, the commissioner meetings, and as she drove to work, she heard, "What are you doing?" Oh, yeah. Then my son-in-law comes to town. Why are you in the? Yeah.
Just tell them that you're involved in your community.
You're active.
You're active in your
You're
community.
It didn't sound that way.
Well,
And I was upset about it, and I went to the commissioner meeting and complained about it, because that's not how it happened. That's how Don Harlow wrote it.
So
And I asked for it to be
anyway,
corrected, and it was corrected, but the corrected version doesn't get printed.
yes. Okay,
anyway, that's over and done with.
okay. Anything else?
Before you accuse.
I
Okay.
don't-
Are you you're working on 2011. All right. Let's see what time.
27.
And you did
Cindy?
say you'll write a letter to Roger.
Yeah, we'll get that composed somehow or another here.
30-day notice.
Okay.
You gotta have.
Rent.
Okay. Who wants to go first, Rose or Cindy?
Let Cindy go ahead.
All right, we had a meeting, the board met in Council Grove last Tuesday, November the 20th, a week ago. And part of the discussion, Karen pulled me aside and discussed about the position. And I'm very happy that she did get this letter written. I had contacted her earlier, so Bob did a lot of legwork for you. You should be appreciative of that, because Karen was very concerned about our conflict of interest, gave me some definitions of conflict of interest to bring that up, so please understand that you can't double dip a salary, like to put somebody at the same time they're being paid for site manager doing something else during that same time period.
Why?
You can't, well, because you're hired to do one job, you can't double dip the jobs.
So like you
can't.
do 9 to 1,
Right.
and then
And
you
then
can
from 1
do
to-
1 to
Right,
5.
right.
That's not double
That's not
dipping.
double-
That would not
Well,
be,
then what's
but
the
what's been
problem with
happening
doing
has
that?
been. And the position that you're advertising for SHIC is volunteer. And so when you're considering this, you really need to define, according to Karen, which I think she explained it, Bob read through it. And he did ask you to read through it again, so
Yeah.
that you're all familiar with
Yes.
it. And it is very, very important now that you're going to be hiring somebody so that you don't do some of the things you're talking about in your meeting again with someone else. It really needs to be defined what your job expectation is. And Karen really laid it out beautifully in this letter. And she gave me a thing that just to make sure, and I'm supposed to read it, so I'll read it. The office of the coordinator's job is, they are to assist in the development of programs and services for the entire county and serve as a centralized information and referral focus point for aging services. In addition, the county coordinator carries out day-to-day tasks on behalf of the Council of Aging. So the tasks that you decide for her, you decide the tasks. That's why how you can measure them later, whether they're doing them or not. That's kind of what you may have gotten in a problem with your last area coordinator because it wasn't defined on what she was supposed to be held accountable to.
No, that's why we lost her. Treats begin with. She will not want to be accountable for her time during the day. And we had an issue with a couple board members that agreed with her 100%. I've gone to speak. I've gone to Manhattan. They said a number, not a name, is not SHIC involvement because I had not asked any questions concerning health. And they disagreed with that. So we need to establish that.
I asked that very question, and they're never supposed to give initials for who you work for. And especially in a small community, it's pretty dang easy to figure out who it is. And several of the people that, there was only one man that does work there, and he's in the financial part of it, that would be answering any questions that way. There was one other man that was terminated, and if I could proceed with my report, I'd like to do it. There were new officers at the meeting. The new president will be Tom Maxwell. Linda Morris will be the vice. Nancy Klostermeyer from Salina will be the secretary, and Lionel Burgess, who has been the treasurer, or on the finance committee, will also be the treasurer. And that was replacing Sandra Mussinger, who was...
Tom Maxwell from the board?
Yes. Yes. And that's sort of a, he also, by the way, you can go to these meetings. They're all open. And Mitchell County has their bus. Tom Maxwell drives it. Right. And so you can go on a bus and go right to wherever they're having it. It's I think would be a really good learning experience because the board has a packet. They're prepared in advance. They go through them. There's like an hour and a half meeting for all of those people. And my opinion is you could have a meeting in 30 minutes if people really...
And I received copies of all of the
Exactly.
meetings. If anyone wants to make copies or wants to read them, you are welcome.
And I think maybe
do that.
when you do establish it, there should maybe be a place where a person can come and get that information.
Yes.
So that they know that they are available.
Does Glenn Stegman also not sit on that board?
He is at this point, but he attended this last one,
Okay.
which was in Council Grove.
Yeah, I thought that's what you said.
And they did action items. They approved balance statement and comparisons, and there was a lot of discussion. Not unusual for financial, wanting what the questions were. One of the things was how much did the sunflower fair make? What is your guess of how much money, after all of that work, how much the sunflower fair makes? What did you say?
1,500.
Boy, you're close. It's not very much. I can find it here.
By the time the bills are paid and everything, who does the money go to?
To the agency on aging.
Okay.
And that was an item of discussion of why
Good for
is
them.
it worth it, I guess was the question. Because there's a lot of work, and Karen had a lot of explanation. Well, that's all the orange pages here that you see.
But if you take a day, that's pretty good wages for a day.
That's true, but how do you get that back out? It's not one person that gets the wages. It was about $2,500 was the amount that they paid. And the sheet of doing it was just unbelievable of how many booths. And who went? Raise your hand. You went, Judy. And did you go to the one that people didn't like? Was the one, do you have that form? No. Karen passed it out, and I can't find it right now. Anyway, it was about which ones people liked and which they didn't, and the one from the Salina Regional Hospital, which was about dementia that people had asked for, really got bad reviews.
The one I didn't like was his name was Black.
Yes.
He was like all of Western Kansas opioids. But
Yes,
he didn't
that's what
talk
opioids, not dementia. That's the one they asked about.
and kept talking.
Right. You
Kept
went
talking
to that
about alcoholism is an opioid and excuse me? Yeah, you know.
Anyway, he's not going to be back, and they're not. Make a long story short.
And he didn't have, come find out, all the papers were out in the hall. He never handed them out.
That's right. Anyway, and then Older Kansas Day, make this on your calendar, will be the February 12th of 2019, and encourage, maybe to have a group go together to go to Topeka and advocate for the things that matter to seniors. That is February 12th, Boulder, Kansas Day. And Lincoln County hasn't really participated like other counties have.
Say the date again.
February 12th.
Sorry.
I found the Sunflower Fair thing. It was $2,481. For all the different expenses, they took in, expenses were, they took in $5,649.60, but by the time they paid everything, for example, how much do you think the Bicentennial Center's not called that anymore? How much do you think that cost?
To rent it,
Yeah.
probably $1,500 for the day.
Oh, no, much higher.
More than that.
Couple thousand?
Like 20,000.
20,000.
It's very expensive. So when you pay all these things, they came in, I think they had $52,692.55.
Get a school.
By the time they paid everybody, they had only made $2,481. So think about that. I'm not advocating one way or the other.
Sorry to interrupt, Cindy. I need to go and deliver meals. Let's see.
Call me when you get ready.
Yes, I'll call you when I get ready. And
And you'll
So
forget
when's
to
the
pay.
meeting in December?
yes, you need to decide.
Yes.
You need to decide that.
Yes, let's decide when the meeting is in December.
Does anybody have a calendar?
Do we want it December 25th is the 4th Tuesday. We can't do that. You want to do it the week before.
The third
Third Tuesday?
Yeah.
Third Tuesday it is. Okay, I will call everybody and remind you.
All right, all I'm going to do is give over their goals for next year, so that
Okay.
I can give that
All
to you
right.
and hand out later.
Okay, and I've got Rose's report. 18th, so.
They are funding a lot of Emporia's senior center, and then they also made a motion and passed the motion to redo all the HVAC in Manhattan. Your heating and your air conditioning.
I don't know anything.
Those were like $500,000 on one thing and $200,000 on another. Big expenses.
Well, I suppose they'd find a cheaper place to have it.
well, I would, that's
Like a high school.
They
It's a
talk
good
Like a high
about
school
this.
gymnasium or,
Some even grade
What it
school
is.
gymnasium, that's
Concord.
easy.
When they have a room, where they have enough room for
Probably, I don't know. They've been doing it for a long time, and it does serve the people that want to advertise all the agencies,
Yeah.
what services they have. And, they're all around the outside and on the inside, and then they usually have a speaker.
Oh.
But you've got to think about, that's not a lot to put in your pocket after that day of work. And a lot of those things are donated.
Yeah.
That's all donated volunteer
be
time.
careful, Jan.
Okay.
It's just like that.
Thank you, guys.
I feel like you learned
that
that.
the Agency on Aging
Who's
is
taking over the meeting? Charlene?
Charlene, DeWitt. Adjourn the meeting when Rose and everybody's done.
Oh, yeah.
okay. The Agency on Aging's goals for 2019, and this is what you would be advocating for when you would go on Kansas Day, Older Kansas Day, and we do need to make a showing there. I've gone several years, and it would be nice to have more people from Lincoln County be advocating for things like the Senior Care Act and for can care services, for full funding of the nutrition program, and for the one thing that was really Lincoln County has not taken advantage of is the employment opportunities for older Kansans. And did you know that you are supposed to look at older Kansans to fill positions here because you're a senior center before you hire someone that isn't a senior? That is one of your missions, is to help seniors find jobs and get employment. So there's the expansion of can care, of caregivers. And the other thing is to stress that, did you know the Council on Aging in Manhattan isn't just for seniors, it's for all people with disabilities. And I looked through the 2010 census just to find out, and we supposedly have 18 people who are disabled and in the home. I ask you, what services are you giving to them? We have
Here, we have 18.
here, I'm talking 8 in Lincoln County. And that's 2010 census. 18 people, and you should be serving that disabled community also. So that is why I have been saying that your ADA standards need to be current before somebody sees you. And then HIPAA violations. Oh, you can't give initials for people. That was really, some people got fired because of doing that, but I'll get to that in a second. So Older Kansas Employment Program is a really big thing to think about. When you have an opportunity to fill a position, a cook, assistant cook, please look at your senior community. That's what you're supposed to be doing in the first place.
But a lot of them don't want.
You have to advertise the position. Karen wrote it out very carefully, and Bob read it today. You really need to make sure you're advertising for the positions. You need to have your job descriptions. What has happened in Lyon County is that the Agency on Aging has come in and will be taking care of, like your county. It got to the point where we're not able to make decisions in a timely fashion, weren't following some of the mission statements, weren't following their bylaws, and the they asked for help. And Manhattan came in and has done an excellent job setting up the program for them. And Karen has offered all kinds of things for the SHIP program here for Sylvan. Sylvan had a wonderful turnout. They're probably going to have another one to meet the needs there. And she's also organized the one here for Lincoln Senior Center. And remember, the SHIP program is volunteer.
Yes, it is.
And so, even the people that are trained in Lincoln County, maybe you need to tap them again and ask them to mend. If you're going to mend any bridges, I would start with your SHIP people who have gone through the training at their own expense.
Teresa was paid to do SHIP.
Well,
It
we're not
was
talking
all-
about Teresa. We're moving on. What you do in the future counts, because now you know. And Agency on Aging from Manhattan has let you know. And I appreciate Bob very much being on the board, on the council, and asking that question. Because as a board member, I heard it over and over again and knew what was going on. I tried to do something, but you know how that works. You get blamed for everything. Silver-haired legislators have been meeting. Again, one of the biggest things they're trying to do is grandparents' rights. Kansas does not have grandparents' rights, and what happens is that sometimes your kids abandon their kids and grandparents raise them, and they're working hard to get care to cover the insurance for those kids so that it doesn't come out of the pockets of the grandparents. Am I saying that correctly enough?
I think so.
And there's even a lot more stuff to that. The one thing that has been controversial is the step therapy. I did not know what it was. Step therapy is where your insurances, and you all know, probably our secondary insurance and your prescription insurance may go up. And you're going to have to debate with yourself whether or not you keep what you have, because when you change, sometimes they're going to really hit you for the same prescriptions that you were getting at a lower cost. It's hard to know it, and you do need an experienced sick person to help you.
Well,
No one can just give you advice.
If you get out of your prescription insurance with
To
what
get
you're
another
carrying now, later on, can you go back to the same one?
Not until
That's going to be every
Enrollment
year.
date.
Yeah,
It's an
enrollment
enrollment
date. But it'll be more expensive then, see, because they get to reevaluate the prescriptions you're taking. And if you'll note, when you get that book, your prescriptions move up and down these tiers.
yeah.
And I had a prescription that moved to a tier that is going to cost me, what was costing me $3.33 is going to be expensive.
But your sick person cannot advise you what to change to.
Right, she can just
They
give you the
can lay
advice.
it out for you.
That's correct.
And they can even do it on the phone, but they cannot advise you to change from Humana
Be
to
awful careful.
whatever.
So the step therapy is
Be
that,
awful careful changing,
right.
because there's a lot of false companies out there.
I know. The thing that gets me is
And they
they're
can change it to you even
paying-
3 months into it. And that, I always thought once you signed up, they would keep that prescription. It's not true.
No. But Patterson Drug, since we're in Lincoln, Patterson Drug is coming into a cheaper. I know.
Although they're not accepting Humana, which is the cheapest.
Yeah, they're not accepting.
Now, step therapy,
not
let
a
me
Blue
get back.
Cross, and it's expensive.
It's very expensive, but it's very thorough. So you
Yeah.
have, that's the decision you have
I've
to
had
make.
it for years.
Now, let me explain what step therapy is, because I don't know why they're supporting it, but they are supporting it, and that's the insurance companies will have step therapy, which is fail first protocol. And what that means is that your insurance company with your prescriptions will put you on the cheapest drug first before they would put you on the drug maybe your doctor prescribed. In my case, like Synthroid is the prescription, but they'll put it to the cheapest one first. And it may not work for you like the original one that was prescribed by you. But that's what's happening. And it lowers your cost, but it may not be the prescription you really, really needed. So it's awful out there, as Bob says already. What else? Quality control procedures. They've had those where auditing they just finished an audit for the Agency on Aging, and they passed it, and it was a multiple book thing of everything that I have yet to figure out what all it is. And that was all the, what is it called? Quality Control System Procedures. Remember you all had a debate about the audit, and it kept being called procedures? Guess what? It is called procedures. Who knew? But it really is an audit. Whatever. Okay. Karen Mays' report was, like I said, huge. It goes into everything, everybody, every training, every goal that they have. Part of their goal that they haven't been meeting in Lincoln County, because it breaks it down to every county, the county that you represent, you get the information for. And their goal was to recruit 2 new volunteers in each county every year for SHIC training, and Lincoln hasn't been doing it. So wouldn't it be great if the Council of Aging would have that as a goal to increase their numbers of SHIC people that are trained? How you do that, I don't know. Rose will answer that.
I don't know.
And they are also, some of their goals are to organize and present at least 4 educational learning experiences. Lincoln County really hasn't followed through on following what your charter says, is to provide senior programs. Activity and a program are not the same thing. So you've had some with the health department that you've had here that are excellent programs and
States come in.
qualify for them. But on the other hand, that's not saying that you shouldn't have activities. And what Chris brought up a little while ago is an excellent idea. While I was at Sylvan, we started coffees, and it brought them in like crazy in the mornings, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. And then we shared bringing bagels or donuts or whatever, shaved the cost, and the cost did not come out of the mill levy. I assure you, it did not. But that's a whole other issue. And while I'm thinking of it, Judy raised an excellent point, but it got lost someplace. And that was keeping the separate things of mill levy monies and earned monies. You're exactly right.
I just don't have financials
Well, I know.
in front of me, but there's 2 accounts, and
That's
I
correct.
didn't know.
Well,
where
that's
they
what
were.
your commissioners wanted you to do. It was an issue with Sylvan, it's an issue with Lincoln, and that's what part of the quote audit, quote procedures found, is that your accounting part is not the way it should be. And that mill levy money is kept separate, and your money you earn, fundraisers or whatever, is in a different account. There's 2 accounts. Not just for the senior centers, but for the council on aging also.
I want to bring up one thing.
I believe that the Council on Aging is fully funded by the county, and there is no fundraising.
I haven't seen
There
any
is
either.
no fundraising money. It's all mill levy money.
But there have been people, and I didn't know it either, Mona, that have donated money to the council. And that's a separate issue. In-kind donations are a separate issue. For example, I gave 2 reams of paper to run off the things I begged you to read for your notebooks and about procedures. I donated that. You should have an in-kind account of people that give to your organization.
That's accountability.
Yes, and it is in income tax, no matter what anybody tells you. It can be used if you have like a real audit someday because your accounting procedures are in order.
May I interrupt? Go back on SHIC training. I had signed up to take SHIC training, and then this is when we lived out by Denmark. There was a lot of family crisis,
Yes.
and I had to back out. But I had intentions, and then
Well,
Yeah.
you can still do that, Judy, and I would really encourage you to do
well,
it.
I've got.
I would encourage any senior to get the training.
I would like
because
to
one
if I could
senior
find
talking to
time,
another
but right
senior
now.
is better. Anyway, and maybe you'll have a computer because part of it is all on the computer when you do the training, the first part.
I think it is.
And that might be something you'll want to invest in, that somebody can come here and do that. But you can also do it at home, obviously. New staff, they've hired a Jamie Tull as a junior case manager out of Manhattan, Joanna somebody.
She had him for you?
Yeah, Joanna Meja Studio, but she speaks Spanish fluently, which is why I can't pronounce her name. Emporia Kendra Atkins is the senior case manager in Manhattan. Jonathan Dominique is the junior case manager in Salina. Sandy Davis has been hired as another senior case manager in Salina. Those might be 2 people that you're in contact with in Salina, being the closest. Barbara Lowry, junior case manager in Emporia. Marita Saunders is a new SHIC scheduler. Barbara Wright is the career developer in Manhattan. They let people go also because of things they did. They fired Justin Briggs, data entry, was terminated for not showing up and putting in information that wasn't correct.
You can't tell us that.
Yeah, you can tell us that because this is part of that.
That's privacy. You can't tell that.
You can tell when they have left the agency, and that's what I'm telling you. Rachel Connor is no longer there, and Candy James is no longer there. She resigned because of health problems. The other 2 were let go because data entry, not doing. It's very, very important data you enter for SHIC program. You cannot violate the HIPAA law. And that's just, that's why, the files that you get need to be very secure here, because you're already saying you have people coming in to use the other part of the room. So you got to make sure those are going to be locked, who will have the key, all that good stuff. I think that's, what is this? Oh, the census thing that I got back. How many people ages 60 and above, that would be your target audience, is 882 people. You have 17 people who are minority. That's another thing that we're not maybe including, is the minorities that are 60 and older. They try to have a diversity on your council. I didn't know this. There are 85 people over 60 living in poverty. We need to make sure we're serving that community also. Living alone, 266 people. And I think those are things that are not covered by your HIPAA law, that you do need to find out and reach out and help. Okay, that be it.
Okay.
Rose,
I don't
take it
have a
there.
whole lot. Just encourage you to go do your prescription drug plan again. Because I did my mother-in-law's this year, and my mother's and my husband's, and I saved them so much money by having them run it through. My mother-in-law saved about $1,300 just by running hers back through. So your prescriptions change every year, and so does the drug plan. So just do it and see if you can save yourself some money.
Mine haven't changed for about 6 years, so.
And then those people in
Well,
poverty.
you're kind of
Don't you come in on the 5th? Are you set up to come in on the 5th?
I think that would be a good idea.
I think it would be a great idea.
Mark.
What? I didn't hear.
And Bob has asked for that page to be run off.
We saved over $700 on our prescriptions. So you need to come in and listen to what I said. They will go through that with you.
Companies.
We have
You
people.
guys need
We
to
have
role
people
model
up
what
too.
you can do.
haven't you gone every
I don't
year
have Blue Cross.
and
But who
I
are
just continue to pay.
I would go ahead and it's free for you to do it. And
Well, I
just
pay
for
$105 a month, and my prescriptions are all based on 3
I didn't know
months.
that, Charlotte. I'm sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
most of them
And
take it out.
none of them are high-priced pills.
but it
So I'm
could
paying
save
more
you.
in insurance.
I know you'll say.
But you'll
Yeah.
save
Blue Cross
money
Blue Shield is the
if you
most
just come in
expensive.
and let Karen go through that with you.
Yeah, just
And
write
she's
your
coming in on
prescriptions
the
down.
5th.
Well, get an appointment. Get an
You gotta
appointment.
talk to Becky.
Also, I need to let you know, those people in poverty, and not just necessarily in poverty, the state has an extra program called Extra
Extra
Help.
help.
Yeah,
And
extra.
you can really get reduced
Mark, you'll save money.
prescriptions.
If you just come in.
And I have
That's
to make
based
an
on your
appointment.
income.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it takes about an hour for each person.
Yeah.
So that's why they really have to sign up. You have that sign-up sheet in here. Sign up, and Becky making it right here.
And you can do it on your phone if you have to.
Sign up.
Or you
Very
can go
good.
down
It's not
to
as
even
good, though.
Patterson's if you can't get an
I mean, you
appointment
have to
here.
have all your stuff there a lot of times when you find
They'll
out.
run it
You're
through
on that here.
Patterson's.
And you signed up.
It'd be
you got your
better
bill.
than
I don't do it
Look,
with
Mark.
this. We're
You
military.
need to go to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy will help you fill it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Vancouver.
You can get your prescription list from your pharmacy. That's so much easier.
Yeah.
Have them print off
Yes.
your list.
And he will even go through that with you.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to come here. You talk to your pharmacist. He will help you go through that because I'm sure they're trained.
It's just a
are.
good
They-
thing
they
too.
But I want to tell you something. I really appreciate what you guys do in Manhattan. I mean, I never realized how much paperwork there was until I started.
There's always
contacting.
paperwork.
Oh my
See,
God.
I don't have a problem with Blue Cross.
But,
I don't
but
think
the,
I've ever had to pay.
no, you joined up when they said you had to have it, otherwise you're going to get penalized. When you do sign up, and
Yes.
every year they're asking on your
My
drive,
mother-in-law pays
you're
a
okay.
every year because when
But you did it
But she
originally.
Remember when we
Sign up.
sign up, he's like, we don't take pills. And he
Yep.
got all of his from VA. And then she's had a stroke. She's been dropped on her head. She has seizures. And now she takes buku bucks and pills. And yeah, it changes every year. It's a
That's something to
nightmare.
look forward to.
Oh, yes, something to look forward to.
But it's just very important, and it's free for you to do it. That's why the SHIC program is free for you to do it, because volunteers help.
I thought I saw a scheduled date for ship training and for, I thought I saw it. in there.
Well, they would have. Let's see, for the SHIC
I've
training.
looked, yeah.
March
Training
you know,
will
just
come
just
out until I can't hear you.
They just have one, but I
Do
don't
you
know.
know Rollins here?
2019 is
That's one in
2019
here.
now.
It's folks.
I don't think we have, I don't know if it's scheduled yet for next
Okay.
year. But they will definitely do it.
Rollins there. Do you know Rollins
There was
there?
one in Salina recently.
Volunteer?
Rollins there.
Oh, right. I don't have my hearing aids in.
He's from Lincoln.
No, I
You
don't.
don't know him? I'm surprised. Okay.
You know, a lot of the counties that do not have county coordinators, and there's more counties than not, that do not have a county coordinator, they have SHIC volunteers. They go to their extension offices. Like Ottawa, their health department takes care of all of the things that a SHIC coordinator would take care of. You have case managers in Salina that take care of these people here. So you have time before you hire
And
a
Karen said the
Ellsworth
same
said
thing.
they could come over and help us. Salina said they would come up and help us.
Definitely.
That was the
Well,
meeting
see,
I had
no
with
matter
Karen.
what you
Said
do,
there's
you're
no
paid.
hurry for
No,
you to
you're
hire.
not.
Dental insurance,
You
I
don't have
pay.
to, in fact, you
And
don't
eye
have to hire
insurance.
anybody at all.
You know, that's all extra.
Because this is supposed to
So
be
when you get
voluntary.
through, I paid almost
Sorry, Rose.
That's
$400
fine.
a month.
Okay, this is National Caregiver Month, National Family Caregiver Month, which means we all know somebody who's a caregiver. Try to do something nice for them. Not only this time of year, but all the time. But this time of year is stressful because of holidays coming, shopping, whatever. So just remember caregivers. And you've probably all been one or know someone who is one. So it's very important. Do anything to brighten their day. Give them a break with their loved one.
I come over and sit with Dale that loud. You want to go?
That's right. I know how it is because my mother was from my father before he went to the nursing home, and it is stressful because I couldn't get in there to give her a break all the time. It is very stressful. So do something nice.
Mike,
for
you
those
tell him Gene, I come over and sit with her if she don't want me to.
Okay, we did a family caregiver talk show on friendship meals last week. December 18th, Karen and Aaron Sunderman are going to have one on all of Medicare changes that are going to happen in 2019. That would be very interesting to listen to. It's super easy to get in on this conference call. The directions are here on page 2. Just super easy. You can be as involved in that as you want. You can listen to what they have to say. You can ask them questions. Or you can hang up when you want to. You don't have to say a word. But it's really very, very easy.
What station is that?
It's not a station.
It's a
It's a
phone call.
conference phone call.
Okay.
So you just dial this 888 number
Okay.
here.
I think that's scarier though, knowing what the Medicare changes are going to be.
Well, we all need to know. We all need to know for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the older employment, the older Kansas employment program, that's something Cynthia was talking about. That's our OCAP person. We got a brand new one, Barbara Wright, in our office. Every time that I have a job opening somewhere, I tell her first and say, do you have a senior looking for a job in this town? Or she gets all kinds of calls and applications from people looking for jobs. You should send your coordinator job to her. Maybe she could find someone in this area who's looking for something like that. It's for people 55 and older who are looking for employment. She's had to, and she's brand new. Kathy Zane just retired. We have one in Emporia too, but I don't remember. Do we still have one in Salina?
I don't think so yet.
I don't
Not at
think
this
so.
time.
So
just have
she
to
would
figure-
be. It'd be very good to
This
get
is
that
Job
to
Club
her.
in Salina.
Huh?
Says
Well-
Job Club in Salina.
Is it kind of like the Green Thumb?
No. No, that's totally different. This OCAP she is trying to find older Kansans employment, anyone 55 and older.
Yeah.
So they'll call her and say, I'm looking for a job in this town, this is where I live, this is kind of what I want to do, this is the hours I want to work, do you have something?
And they'll help with the resume writing and
Right.
help you learn how to write a letter of application.
Because sometimes it's hard, you know. I know when I retired from school, and I'd been there 29 years, it'd been that long since I'd ever done a resume, and I'm like, oh! So I had to figure it all out again. Well, they're there to help you do that. So, and
she'd have a good idea if there's something around your area. So it'd be good to send her that application, not the application.
The job.
The job
Information.
Yes, the
What
job
you're looking
information, and maybe she would have someone in your area. The advocacy update, there's really nothing new to talk about than what I talked about last time. We're hoping for the best with the new budget. Of course, part of it was a continuing resolution again, which they're very good about that. Can Care, all of those opportunities are passed. They had some conference calls. I don't know, what did you talk about, Can Care? I can't remember what you said.
Just that they're trying to get it cover more people in a timely fashion, because there's a waiting list.
I'll tell you what, that was a struggle when I had to put my dad on that, but I had very good luck with that, but I heard a lot of horror stories. But it's there to help those who need it. So, okay.
That's it?
That's it.
I adjourn.
I move to make the motion.
I move we adjourn, baby.
All right.
Second.
Thank you, Marge, for
Adjourn.
saying that for everybody.
And these